teaching you how to assess personal training clients in less than 10 minutes. This is not for athletes or any type of injuries. General pop. Buckle down and learn how to become a great trainer. I did a great podcast with a VP at Equinox. He oversees all of the 2,700 trainers at Equinox. And we talked about the 3 skills that are missing: business skills, trade skills, people skills. And that's why 10% of trainers succeed within the first year. 90% fail because we settle for the success of 30% closing rate when it comes to the assessment. The assessment is imperative for your success. If you have one of these skills, you can do very, very well. If you have all 3, you'll absolutely crush it. Show Up Fitness, we close at 80%. Mind you, how you assess depends on which gym you're at. At Equinox, you're going to have your EquaFit. At Crunch, you're going to have your role playing that you have to do there. At Show Up Fitness, we have a 1-hour assessment. You have to pay for it. So set clear expectations, because at an Equinox, that client could have been sold on 2 free workouts. So they're showing up all wired up on pre-workout, ready to go, and then you want them to sit down and talk. They're not going to be very happy. So set very clear expectations. Client comes in, shake their hand, you smile. Welcome to Show Up Fitness. How did you hear about us? I let them tell us a little story, and then I'm going to tell them a story right back. Show Up Fitness was established 10 years ago. We teach personal trainers. I'm sure you're familiar with the average level 0 trainer. They study a textbook, they go out there and get certified, and they hurt people. Not at Show Up Fitness. We have the best certification and the best internship. We have doctors, physical therapists, RDs. We have the best team out there. So the client has this clear expectation. Wow, I'm in great hands. I look the part. I show up on time. Could you imagine going to a high-end restaurant and the waiter's in a tank top, and this isn't Chippendales? They don't look professional. You lose points right from the get-go. So the people skills are really important. Look the part. When I do an assessment, I'll wear a polo or a form-fitting shirt like this. I'm not going to be sweating. I'm going to smell good. I'm going to look good. I smile. Great handshake. Set those clear expectations. Here's what we're going to do today. We're going to go through a little PAR-Q, which is Physical Activity Readiness Questionnaire. I'm going to learn about your goals. I'm going to eliminate any red flags, see if we need to make a referral to one of our teammates. The goal is to eliminate any red flags. Watch the other videos: shoulder pain, hip pain, knee pain. If that is the case, I will go into that, but for today, they don't have any pain. So we're going to go into their goals, the history, and resting measurements. After learning more about their goals, and I feel it's appropriate, I'm going to get into the resting measurements. I really like to do grip strength, blood pressure, body fat if they want to, and then measurements. I prefer measurements over the scale or body fat. I read the room, I observe the client, and then I'll ask them, would you like to do measurements? I will always do blood pressure. I'll always do grip strength. Those 2 are the most important because you don't see other people doing it. I will educate them on blood pressure, the silent killer, hypertension, what systolic, what diastolic means. That separates me from those textbook trainers that are out there. So the client goes, wow, this is really impressive. I've gone to doctors and they don't even explain to me what these numbers mean. You did. I'm establishing myself as a medical professional, not the average trainer out there. After 10 to 15 minutes learning more about their client, eliminating red flags, doing those measurements, finding out their goals, I'm going to get into a warm-up. I do not do any movement screens, overhead squat, FMS. We don't believe in scaring people. We are pro movement and Show Up Fitness. What is their goal? If it's a male, typically it's going to be upper body, lose that belly fat. If it's a female, typically nice tight tummy, and it's going to be working on their glutes. It's always case by case. Go back to that restaurant analogy. We have the best pizza in the world. I'm going to assume you want pepperoni, but I ask you, do you have any allergies? That's what this is about. Learning the preferences of the individual. You're not going to be closing at an 80, 90% if a client says they want to grow their glutes and you're doing a step-up curl press. They're not even going to feel it. Or stability ball press, Bosu ball squats. What? Stop that nonsense. Listen to the client's goals and then train them appropriately. You regress to the lowest hanging fruit, overload appropriately so you're not going too heavy, strengthening ligaments and tendons, making sure movement competency is there so you can progress in the future. So I'm going to go through a warm-up, hitting those 10 checkpoints of human movement: ankle, knee, hip, lumbar, thoracic, cervical, shoulder, elbow, wrist, and then some breathing drills. I keep it really simple. I observe them during that warm-up, and then I progress into the first CCA, depending on their sex and their goals. During the assessment process and the warm-up, I'm learning and observing from my client what they're capable of doing. Am I going to do a goblet squat or am I going to do a back squat? I take the squat pattern and I make that decision. I look at a push pattern, push up or bench press, pull pattern, pull up or a pendulum row, something more advanced, hinge pattern, bridge or a hip thrust. For a press, landmine, military, unilateral, step ups or Bulgarians, beginner, advanced. Am I doing less sets? Am I doing more sets? What's the intensity look like? I'm gathering all that information. So many trainers struggle with the assessment and programming process because they try to figure it out beforehand. So during the assessment process, I'm formulating what I'm going to do for the workout. Here's what I typically do for hunkettes. We're going to do a CCA format. You take a core movement pattern, follow it by a core movement pattern, and then add in an accessory. The accessory for the first circuit should not compromise force production. The accessory should do things that they want to improve. I always ask them, if a genie were to pop out of a lamp and give you one magical body part, keep it PC, what would it be? Glutes, I'm going to isolate the glutes. Tummy, I'm going to do abs. In the second CCA or the third, I can incorporate cardio. Most people don't handle anaerobic into cardio. It's too intense. The goal isn't to annihilate a client. It's to learn from them, ask great questions, say their name, make them feel comfortable being with you, because the stigma for trainers is very poor. We're just going to kick the shit out of people and tell them they got to sign up with us. If they've worked with a trainer before, they've been scared by a movement screen, doing stupid ass Bosu ball or some type of scary movement that's inappropriate, and then they annihilate them and tell them to get 12 sessions and they don't get results. So they're frustrated. Be different. Clearly explain that during the workout. And so when I do this first CCA, I'll do a lower body based on their goals, depending on what I found out in the environment. I may do a hinge, a squat, or unilateral. It always depends. Then I'm going to do an upper body push or pull. It depends. And then an accessory. 2-3 rounds, I'm learning how they move. The second circuit's going to be more challenging. If I were to do a squat here, I will do a hinge or a unilateral in the second one. If I did a push here, I'm going to do a pull here. And then for the accessory, another complementary exercise that they like to do or they want to learn to do, or something that they can feel. Abs are a big one. Arms, I'll isolate. 3 rounds. And then in the last circuit, we're going to do the patterns that I missed. If we did a squat hinge, I'll do a unilateral. If I did a unilateral, like a step up into a squat goblet, then I'm going to do a hinge on the end. And then I'm going to add the last muscle I didn't hit. So if I did a push here, it's going to be chest and triceps. Pull here, back and biceps. I'm going to do a tricep exercise. Depending on how they're doing, you may incorporate a little circuit. You may need to take away the accessory and the core. It always depends on how the client is doing. Ask them, how much do you have left in the tank? If they're huffing and puffing and about to die, you need to take your foot off the gas. Maybe you're going to walk around the block. Maybe you're going to stretch. Don't kill your clients. If it's too easy, that's when you can make it more challenging. Maybe you add in a challenge at the end or a little circuit. Here in Santa Monica, we can run up the stairs, come back, do a little sprint, come do a wall sit, do some ab work, and do that for 5-10 minutes. Really increase your heart rate, get them to sweat, and then you're going to sit down and sell them on you in the workout you just did. If they want a big booty, they better feel their booty during that workout. If they want to lose fat, they should probably sweat a little bit. For the hunks, guys typically aren't great with cardio. So I'm going to do a CA variation. I'm going to do an upper. Most guys want a chest. So I'll do a push of a bench or a push-up, depending on the individual, what they like to do. And then I'll do an accessory. Want big arms like mine? Bam! We're going to do some bicep curls. I'm going to get engaged as a trainer. Pause, hold, push down. 3, 2, 1. Overpower them just a little bit to let them know who's the top dog. That's me. That's why you're showing up to work with the best. 3 rounds there, depending on how well they do. Depending on how well they do, I may add an antagonist exercise. So if I did a push, I'll do a pull and then add an accessory. If this is about to kill them, I may stick with a CA. Just do the opposite. So if I did a push here, I'll do a pull and maybe a tricep or lateral raise. And then the last one, that's when I'm going to incorporate legs and cardio. Guys typically lack with cardiovascular training, so I'm going to progress appropriately. Start out very easy, moderate, and then increase the intensity at the end. Ladies, if you're training a male, Guys have egos and guys are dipshits. So they're going to tell you they're fine, but they're not fine. They're about to die. I got more. They're not going to tell you that they're about to die. So if you ask your male client, how you doing? I'm doing fine. And then you keep going, he's going to pass out. Keep glucose tablets on hand. So if they do get a little woozy or they're going white in the face, give them that. Take it with them to let them know everything's all right. This is perfectly normal. You haven't exercised in a long time. My goal is to get you through the entire workout. It's to show you exercise that you like to do, that you want to improve, and to take you out of your comfort zone. If you have time, add in a little challenge, make it fun, get the burn, get them to sweat. Then you go and you sit down and you talk about training. Hey, Frank, how'd you like that workout? Here's a towel. Hey, Amber, let me get you some water. How'd you like that workout? You're smiling. Body language is great. You're not like this. Maybe like sometime, like, I don't know, maybe you want to train with me. It's kind of expensive, but no, you sit down, you look at them right in the eyes, you smile, say, how'd you like that workout? Awesome. You're using positive vocabulary. How many days a week do you want to train? 2 options. They tell you or they ask you. Then you make the decision. Just like the person who wants pepperoni, pineapple, and olive pizza. You're like, what the fuck? I will make you that. Awesome. Here's what it's going to cost. You don't lose your shit and think, hyperventilate. No. How many days a week do you want to train? I don't know, Chris. What do you suggest? I suggest 6 because the clients who train the most with me get in the best shape the fastest. How does that sound? They say yes or no. It's not in my budget. You haven't talked about price yet, so don't get hung up on it. Ants, automatic negative thoughts. Don't think about your bank account. Your clients can't afford it if you show the value. That's what great trainers can do. We charge more than Equinox, and we have a higher percentage at Equinox. We close at 70 to 80% at Show Up Fitness. Most gyms are going to be less than 30. We charge more. How's that possible? Because we're confident we're the best. We take them through the process. We smile. We make the whole thing pleasant. If the client were to say, I want to train twice a week, awesome, Bill. Twice a week for a month, 8 sessions is going to be X. Or if you want to get a package, it's Y. What works for you? And then you're going to have fun with the negotiations. I need to think about it. 1, what do you need to think about? Let's talk about it. 2, it's too expensive. Awesome. What were you thinking about when you came to a private facility in Santa Monica or La Jolla? Our clients at Show Up Fitness pay for the assessment, so they're warm to hot leads. If you find someone at Starbucks and you have no idea how much they can afford, that's what you're going to learn with your pre-assessment form that you have maybe online or during the assessment. If they've worked with a trainer before, ask them, how much did they charge? $200. Did you get the results? That must have been frustrating. Imagine if you work with a trainer who did help you get the results. Is it really expensive? No, it's all relative. It's like if you go to a place expecting the best pizza and they give you a pot pie, think, I was hoping for that pizza. They gave me a fucking pot pie. So that's where communication and the people skills are so important. Communicate clearly. Screen your audience. If you're a level 0 trainer and you're struggling at this 20, 30%, it's time for you to level up. Get the Show Up Fitness CPT. You're going to learn programming, assessments, anatomy, how to regress, progress. You're going to be in the top percentage of trainers out there. You're going to be training after a year, building your book of business. That's why we have partnerships at Lifetime, Equinox, and the top gyms that are out there, because we produce the best trainers and we have the best certification. Most importantly, big biceps are better than small biceps. And remember, keep showing